All right, y'all. So I've been having a bunch of people commenting and messaging on YouTube and different Banshee groups and shit on Facebook about how I'm running my lights. Everybody sees the lights. They're like, how are you running the lights? What lights are those? Where'd you get those from? So on and so forth. So those are eBay lights. Okay, they were $16 a piece. So that's $32 for both headlights. All right. So the key factor for my situation is I did a DC conversion on this bike. So it allows me to run a battery and it allows me to run my headlights with the bike without the bike being on off the battery. It allows me to run LEDs without blowing them because the voltage is regulated. It also has we'll get to that in a second. So this is really the heart of it all, is the wiring harness that I got made by Kevin. Kevin made this harness for me from South Texas Banshee. He makes a whole bunch of different harness variations and kits and all that, blah, blah, blah. But this is what I asked him to build for me, according to what I was going to do originally. All right, so there's there's 3 extra things on this harness. There's a plug here, which I'm not using anymore. This was for the eBay stator and rectifier that I bought and tried out and didn't have any luck with it. So this, never mind this. This is not being used anymore. This right here was the Pigtail. As you can see, it has a red and black wire. This was a lead for a battery that was supposed to be sitting in my tool tray after I got all this together. But it's a good thing that, I still have this on this harness because I was able to use it for the JL setup. So, the JL setup, which is this right here, it's a battery, a little like NiCad type battery. It's a 12-volt battery, and you can't really see, but that right there underneath is a rectifier regulator that regulates voltage. So it'll keep, no matter what the RPM is on the bike or while it's running, it regulates the voltage to always come out as 12 volts to the light so they don't blow. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of the voltage regulator. Anyway, on the DC kit, I got it installed. You can't really see it, but on the DC kit, you have a set of wires coming out of them, right? So you have 2 wires for the stator. Normally, your wires from the stator, if you can see them down there, these are my wires from the stator. Normally, they would plug in to here on the harness, right next to where the harness plugs in. But once you run this DC kit, once you do the DC conversion, and you run this JL kit, you bypass these 2 wires coming out of the harness and you plug them into the regulator rectifier on the DC kit. Now you have a black and a red cable coming out of the DC kit as your power, your 12-volt positive and negative. In my case, since this was already this harness was already built to be to compensate a battery, all I had to do was bend this wire back and hook it up into the JL kit. And boom, I'm done. The harness, this 12-volt power, this harness is made so that this 12-volt power will feed all the lights on the bike. Okay? So now you have the battery here and you have the connection for the regulator rectifier for the battery. Now, another important thing that you have to do if you do a DC kit at all, a DC conversion at all, is you have to float your stator. My cover is on and it's all on the bike, so I'm not going to be able to show you. I floated my own stator. I was thinking about recording it, but I just didn't record it. Kevin has a video on his channel, South Texas Banshee, how to float a stator. You can go check his channel out, and there'll be a video on there of how to float your stator. So I floated my stator, got everything hooked up, That's the most important part. You have to float your stator. And then if you're using a stock wiring harness, back here, you know, you have the little factory Banshee 12-volt regulator. Where's it at? There it is right there. That's this thing right here is the factory 12-volt regulator for a Banshee. If you do this DC conversion, you no longer need that regulator. So the first thing you would do is unplug this from your harness. This will work with a stock harness. I'm just not exactly sure on how you're supposed to wire it into a stock harness. So I'm not even going to talk about that and, you know, give you wrong information. If you want to know how to wire this into a stock harness, I'm sure Kevin will either be able to tell you, or you can contact the people that make this, and talk to them about how to wire it into a stock harness. Okay, so now we're going to jump back here to my lights. All right, I have a light bar in my bumper, as you can see. Okay, so when I ordered this harness from Kevin, I asked him to put in an extra lead for a light bar bumper. And this has, you know, the red and black, negative and positive. My light bar had a red and black, negative and positive. All I did was solder them up. You know what I mean? And that's it. Boom. Now you have a light that's plug and play with your harness. You just fucking plug it in there, and that's it. There's a little tab on it. It locks it. You know what I mean? You push it all the way on there. It locks it, and that's it. You're done. The same thing with the, you know, headlight. Now this Banshee is a 99, so this is an OEM style plug for the headlight. Okay, it's the same deal with the headlights. He sent me a Pigtail to wire on to my the headlights I was going to run, so that's what I did. The solder connections are right there. You just figure out which wire you need to go to where, and, you know, hook them up accordingly. So on these headlights, they have a halo and they have a regular beam in the center. This halo lights up blue. On the Banshee, you have a low beam and a high beam. So that's two different signals from this switch. So the way I wired these up is the low beam are the angel eyes or the halos. So when I turn on the low beams, the halos come on. The high beam is the main light. And it also turns on the light bar. So when I turn on the high beams, it turns on these main lights and the light bar. You know what I mean? That's pretty much how it works. There's 3 wires on your Banshee harness from the factory, a high beam, a low beam, and a ground. And you just figure out, you know, which wire controls which function, the low beam or the high beam. I want to say the yellow is the high beam and the green is the low beam. So you would wire the corresponding wire from this light to make the halos light up. You would wire it to the green wire on the Banshee harness. And for the main beam, you would wire to the yellow. There's your low and your high. And that's really it, man. You know what I mean? Now where this comes into play is there's a battery here. I would plug this battery in. See if I can do it with one hand. Come on, motherfucker. There we go. So you plug the battery in, and now your lights, you know, they work without having to have the bike running. Like, that's my low beam. My halos come on. High beams, all of them come on. And that's really it. You know what I mean? It's pretty simple. It might be difficult to look at like on a computer screen on a schematic and understand, but it's really not that difficult, man. You just gotta put your brain to it, man. You'll figure it out. I also have a tail light connection back here. I just haven't figured out what kind of tail light I'm gonna run yet, so that's unplugged for the time being. But yeah, guys, so this was basically just a video breaking down my whole light setup and the conversion and all that stuff, because a bunch of people have been asking. As far as the Banshee goes, you know, I'm still waiting for Nerf bars. I'm still waiting for a +2 stem. and graphics. And once I get all those things, man, this thing is gonna be as good as done. So I'm just playing the waiting game, man. You know what I mean? With all this shit going on, people are backed up, this, that, and the third, whatever. So you just gotta wait, be patient. But by the summertime, before the summertime, way before the summertime, but soon this thing will be done and it'll be off this stand. And I'm not turning no more wrenches on this thing. That's it. You know what I mean? I can focus on some other stuff I want to do. So I know a lot of people are probably, subscribing and checking out my videos and stuff right now for the Banshee. Everybody loves Banshees. Everybody wants to see the Banshee. But, I got, other bikes and other things I'm going to be doing on this channel if I get a decent interest. So if you guys, want to stay tuned on what I got going on and you want to come check me out, just, subscribe, share it. Tell your friends to subscribe if they ride. I'm not, no master mechanic or nothing, but I have a great amount of knowledge about, these four-wheelers and dirt bikes, and I've been doing this for a while since I was a little kid. So I'm probably going to die with something in my garage or whatever in pieces, or being built or whatever. This is just what I like to do. And, I'm going to do it as long as I can do it, man, God willing. So, yeah, man, that's about it for this video. Like I said, man, if you guys like the content and you want to see more, just subscribe. Trying to get me to that 1K. And that's about it, man. So I'll catch y'all in the next upload. Peace.